It was like a puzzle. You have to figure out which what I don't exactly remember the formula or the equation, but you'd have to like put in the right element in to make the solution complete. I thought that was I was horrible at it, but I thought trying to figure that shit out was fucking so much fun.
Really? No, I hated like all of it. Anything science or math, I was not into.
Who did you have for chemistry in high
I had
school?
Williams.
Okay, I had at that time I think he was only teaching for 2 years. Okander, I think that was his name.
Big O.
Yeah, with the weird mustache.
Yeah,
I totally
goofy
cheated
dude.
on that final. It was not hard.
Oh, good.
He gave us like he told us you can have one piece of paper with the elemental table on it to help you, and that's it. So I just wrote down all the answers on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it was
Classic.
really weird because I was front and center. I was right in front of his desk, and he did not
No
notice or care that
Had a
I
kid.
wrote all the answers
That's
on
the
it.
best. I was talking over.
Dude, I have some great cheat
Oh,
stories.
speaking of that, I was talking over Christmas on how it came up about, or not Christmas, over Thanksgiving, about our line of cheating in Spanish.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
that? That was the best. I think Sam was complaining about Spanish, and I was like, "Well, this is how you get through Spanish, all right." So I learned how, how telephone is real, like how the grade just went down from the right side of the table all the way to the end.
You find a dude that's good at Spanish.
Yes.
And then you have another dude that's good at Spanish sit next to him, and you have another dude sit by that guy.
Yes. And then you just let it go down, and we'll see how it goes.
Like, if you're in the middle, then honestly, the teacher can't really prove that you cheated or not.
No, and our answers were different enough because it was hard to like tell what was on each other's papers. So it was like, I mean, you could have looked at like, oh, these guys have like a slightly degrading like grade as it goes down the line and everything. Like, interesting.
That's the end all be all cheat story for me.
That was the best. I love it. It's too funny.
I'm gonna let you in on something that I'm doing right now, Ben.
Oh, what's that?
I am taking off my pants. It is too goddamn hot in
Dude,
here.
that's the best feeling, isn't it?
I would imagine this is almost akin to a woman taking her bra
It's
off.
gotta be something similar to that. Depends how tight your pants you're wearing.
At the same time, women wear pants too.
They just get double the relief.
I guess so.
Yeah.
You're freeing two of something.
Yeah. Man, they sure get all the perks, don't they? Unbelievable.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, right? It's unfair out here. It's ridiculous. All right, well, welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast. We are back. I didn't see you guys walk in. Hey, guys, didn't see you there.
I didn't see you there. What? What?
Welcome back to the podcast. We didn't know you'd be here for this recording. This is wonderful.
You're just in time for the thigh show.
Yeah, that's right. Nick's got his pants off, so we are ready to record. This is going to be big time. We are back at you with a really fun little topic here today that I'm very excited to hear about because I haven't heard all of the details, just a couple.
You flaked out on me there, dude.
This is going to be awesome. I know, right? It was unfortunate. I was so mad. I was looking forward to that so much.
What did you have to do during that? Didn't you like?
I had some interviews,
travel issue?
so I
that's what
I moved up earlier than I thought I was going to.
Right.
Yeah, and we are TBD to see if any of those are going to be fruitful.
Really?
So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
All right.
At least hope it's worth something, and just move up for nothing, early for nothing to miss out on the festivities. But first, before we've been very cryptic with all of that, so you should be very excited to stick around. But first, we must do what we always do at the beginning of the show, unless I forget it, which has happened. But I'm getting better at it. We start with what we are flicking our bics to. Nick, you can go first this week. What has your bic flicking?
So, okay, a couple things. First off, it's been a while since we last
multiple flicks
sat down and chatted like
this. That's true, yes.
So I'm sure a lot has happened.
We missed a week.
Missed a couple weeks.
I think did we miss 1 week of
we had
an
two.
episode?
We
missed two. Damn.
It's no problem. I mean, it was the season time.
Oh yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah,
we took the holiday
busy.
off. Yeah.
Right.
Most people do.
We got 2 weeks of things that we need to catch up on. I'll save a little bit for this episode, and a little bit for the next episode, which we're going to record right
Ooh.
after this.
Recording
So,
episodes back to
I'll
back. Oh my
sure,
gosh.
I'll let you pick. Do you want to know some new music that I've started listening to, or do you
Okay.
want to learn a little bit more about like what I did since the last time we
Ooh,
talked?
choose your own adventure type of thing. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh man, two paths divergent a wood. Um, Tell me about your what you've been up to. That's what I'd like to hear about.
Okay. Sure. Let's see. So, for starters, we talked a little bit about some stuff when we were preparing for recording. I want to talk a little bit about that movie that I saw
Oh,
called Bohemian Rhapsody.
oh, okay. Well, you saw it. All right. I'm really curious to hear because I've heard mixed things, so I'm curious to see what you think.
Okay, I was about to ask you if you've seen it,
I
but
have not. No.
context clues are a thing, so I was able to pick that up
Atta
so that
boy.
you
Look
have
at you
not
go.
seen it. So, reading, also researching and reading a little bit about the movie before and after watching it. Um, that aside, my general just plain enjoyment of the movie, it was pretty good. I liked it. I had actually two problems with it. The first being that the movie it's a movie just about Freddie Mercury, not really about Queen. It's really just about Freddie Mercury, which uh, is cool because he's quite the character. I'm very okay with that, but I wanted to learn more about all the members of Queen. So that was a little bit of a downer. Another big thing that I had an issue with is it is a movie adaptation based on true facts and life events, and that whole title card at the beginning of those types of movies. They had Freddie Mercury come out and tell his bandmates that he had AIDS before the live a concert,
Right.
which I'm sure you probably have read that,
Mm-hmm.
but in the movie he announced it before the concert, where what really happened is he was diagnosed with it after the concert.
Yeah, I heard
So
the
that
timeline
that
of the movie is all kind of all sorts of
yeah,
jumbled, which I get you do for like dramatic effect. Yeah, but yeah, I see that.
yeah. Like I understand why they had Freddie in the movie say he had AIDS before the concert, because the concert was kind of the climax of the movie, so they want to
Mm-hmm.
build like emotion for that. I get it in that regard. But at the same time, it's not accurate. Reading into it, there's actually a lot more other inaccurate things about it. But overall, just as a movie, it
Mm-hmm.
was really good. I
Good.
enjoyed it.
That's exciting. Yeah, that's kind of basically what I had heard is that if you're looking for like a very like accurate depiction of like the whole Queen story and experience, that this isn't really what you should look for. Try to find like a
Hmm.
documentary or something, but like as a movie, it was really good. And uh, Rami Malek apparently really kills it as
Oh, he
Freddie
was
Mercury. So
fantastic.
yeah, that's really cool. That's what I like to see. Did you see a while ago Straight Outta Compton?
No, I
You
actually
didn't?
didn't watch
Oh
that
dang! I was
one.
gonna I was gonna have you compare those because they're similar. Because
Oh
the
yeah, uh
the
huh.
Bohemian Rhapsody movie was basically like um, the Queen people didn't like help like write or direct it, but they basically gave like their stamp of approval for the whole thing. Um,
Right.
which kind of makes it seem like it's obviously like the rose-colored glasses version of their story because like they're
Hmm.
not gonna like go over like all the less great parts of their history and everything. And Straight Outta Compton was very much the same way because Dre and Ice Cube like were really involved in like the production of it and everything. So I always find that
Right.
interesting when they have these movies and it's uh basically like a polished like great version of like what happened when what's better. I guess I'm not gonna say better, but what can be more accurate is actually when it's like not the people themselves like making it and being super involved with it. It's like investigative people like documentaries and the like that like just present the information and like what they know happened instead of like putting kind of a like movie sheen on the whole thing. So it's interesting how that works.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, with when you hear movies or stories about this, where it has, for Queen, for example, and Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, when they say like the band like the band had like a bunch of fingerprints over the movie and whatnot.
Mhm.
So obviously they lived through it, and obviously if they watch it, they can say, no, that wasn't at that time, it was at this time. I always wonder, like, so do they green light and say, yeah, that's okay, or is that more of like a writer's thing where it kind of it slips underneath
Yeah,
them?
yeah, it
Yeah, I'm
depends.
always curious about
Yeah,
that.
that's really interesting, and how much of it did they, like, change around in post and in editing and
Like,
whatnot.
like who is in charge of the changes?
Yeah, yeah, it's always an interesting process. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We were talking earlier about how I haven't been to a movie in forever just because there's so much stuff to watch at home now. Like, there's even
hmm
stuff that I know I'd like that I wanna see, but I just don't make it out there. Especially since we moved there, I don't really know if there's a movie theater, like,
Oh,
super close to us. I'm not sure yet, but I really wanna see Creed 2, so
oh yeah, yeah.
maybe that'll get me out
I haven't seen
and
the
wanna go
first
do it.
one.
You've never seen Creed? Dude.
Yeah,
Oh, I think it's on Hulu, I think. You better go find it, man. Oh god. You ever see, like, the Rocky movies, like, from back in the day?
I've seen clips of them, which shame on me.
Yeah. Watch, like, 1 and 4, and you're pretty much good, but even if you haven't seen, like, the Rocky movies, you like, understand, like, who
Yeah,
Rocky is, obviously,
absolutely.
like, and you don't have to see the other movies to, like, love Creed, but, oh my god, that movie's so good. Ugh, Ryan Coogler,
Uh,
dude, Black Panther. Oh,
um, I also 2 days ago, I watched the first episode of The West Wing, a little show that you
ooh,
might have heard of.
yes, yes. What, you watched just episode 1?
I watched episode one, and I halfway watched episode two. I had to stop watching it. I don't remember why I stopped. Um, but so
Nice.
far, uh, really digging it. Like the way that's shot, and just like the clothes and the style of
Oh, yeah, dude,
everything.
it's so, like, 90s. I
It's
love it.
nostalgic. Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
love
amazing.
it.
It's amazing. Yeah, so, yeah, I really wanna get into that. So what did you, like, overall, you enjoyed it.
hmm
So just, for context, so it's written by Aaron Sorkin, who's considered, like, one of the best, like, writers of, like, our modern, like, TV
Sure.
movie going
Yeah.
experience. And this was he did another show before this called Sports Night, I think Sports Night, which is a similar, like, vibe to West Wing, only it was about like a sports show, like kind of Sports Center type thing, kind of behind the scenes
hmm
sort of deal. But yeah, West Wing is like what really, like, blew up, and as you can see, a bunch of the actors in it um
Oh, it
are
has
big
quite the
deals.
cast.
Yeah, quite the cast. And yeah, so what, I guess I'll ask you, did you have a favorite character? What did you Yeah, just tell me. I just really want to know what you thought.
Sure, sure. A lot of it, for me personally, since I'm not a very political person, it was
Mm.
kind of like, whoa, this is like from a very casual mindset. There was like, oh, so this is what politics is like, kind of, which it's may or may not be true. That
Yeah,
blanket statement I just
roughly
said.
it's not, I mean, they're not going for hyper realism, but it's also like it's pretty dang accurate. They consulted with a whole bunch of people making the show, and it has, I guess, puts more of a, like, rosy, especially early on, like a rosy, like, positive spin on everything, which politics obviously isn't that
Sure,
all
I
the
got a
time.
weird feeling of like underdog American hope vibe from
Oh
it.
yeah, it's an extremely patriotic show, especially if
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
fall more on the lefter side of politics. Um, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna ask,
yeah.
is this more of a left or right leaning
It
show?
keeps it. I mean, though the the president in the show, President Bartlett, is a Democrat, so
Okay.
it's through the eyes of a Democratic White House, but
Mm.
um, it's not like preachy or overly like, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. There's really interesting Republican characters that are, like, not just, like, super tropey,
Right.
which is nice, which you don't see in the first episode. They have some really awful right wing people in the first episode, who are terrible. But no, it's, I think it's quite fair in that way. Um,
So I think we should stop it there on the West Wing talk, because we could
yeah.
probably do
Oh
like
yeah.
we are going to do another podcast about the
Yes,
West
we
Wing
will.
and
So
talk
I
more
just wanted to
about
hear
that.
your first person. Okay, that's
Oh yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah, for sure, for
we will
sure.
definitely talk about that. That's great. Okay, well, I'm excited to hear more about that. Wonderful. All right. What have I been flicking into? Oh, yes. This is a little blasphemous. I'm going to recommend another podcast besides our own, which I mean, I know. I mean, don't listen to it too much. I mean, come right back to us, obviously, but
Yeah, 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 yeah,
you can dabble. You know, it's not as good as we are, but it's worth checking out. So it's called
yeah.
Hooked on Pop, and it is with these two guys. It sounds like Hopped on Pop, like a kid's like a kid's book. I'm just thinking about that right now.
I went to Hooked on Phonics. That's where my
Oh,
mind went.
nice. I like that. Yeah, so it's basically it's this podcast with these two guys. One is I think he's just a musician, like just a really talented musician, and the other one is like a professional songwriter who writes songs for a bunch of different people, and they basically like break down music, particularly like modern music,
Oh,
and
cool.
they say hooked on pop because a lot of it they break down like the popular music. But the last episode I listened to, they talked about like country and some like
Mm.
rap and stuff, and they break down music at this just like very like molecular level, and it's so fascinating. So if you are even remotely musically inclined, some of the stuff goes a little over my head because I'm not like a music theory expert by any means. But even if you're just like the layperson who knows a little bit about music, it is incredibly interesting. They break down like what makes a song like catchy, like from like almost like a scientific point of
Right.
like level of detail. And they talk about how basically the lines between genres have been blurred a lot. Like the last episode I listened to,
Yeah, yeah.
they were breaking down some of these like really popular country songs that are popular now and basically showing like, hey, this is the kind of chords, this is the kind of stuff that used to be in country that like made it like, okay, this is obviously country. They're using this kind of chord progression. They have this sort of like timbre in their voice. Like this is clearly country. They use this sort of instruments, but they're listening. They broke down these modern country songs and showed how they're using a lot of the same things that
Mhm.
pop music has traditionally used, and like basically
Mhm.
showing how genre. They had another example with hip hop as well, and they kind of showed the similarities between them, and we're basically showing how uh, genre has been not removed entirely because you can still like, oh, this is clearly a country song in certain ways, but how those like kind of lines are being blurred, which is really really interesting. Yeah, it's they don't post a whole bunch of episodes, it's not like a weekly podcast or anything, but oh my gosh, it's so good. One of the episodes was about like what makes the perfect summer jam, which was really interesting. How like certain beats and like certain
Yep, yep,
like
absolutely.
measures are uh more like fast paced or slow paced and how that like makes you
Right.
feel when you listen to it and how that relates to like summer and all that. It's really, really good. I am fascinated by it. Makes me think about music in a completely different way, and I highly recommend it. So that was Hooked on Pop, a podcast. It is amazing. Highly recommend.
Everyone, I think, if you like music, should take a simple class on music theory. You learn so much
Oh
about
my gosh,
music,
yeah.
and it's just
And
so
not even like
fascinating.
music theory can get into crazy levels of detail, and I definitely am not in that level, but just some really basic stuff will go a long way in
Mhm,
making
mhm.
you appreciate stuff that you like even more and helping you discover new stuff that you like, which is really
Mm.
really interesting. It's that podcast is really interesting for me because I really don't listen to like top 100 like music the whole lot,
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
not
like
the
learn
same.
stuff about songs that I didn't know, and I'm like, oh, that song actually is really good, or like, oh, I can see why. It helped me realize like, why I don't like a lot of this stuff that's popular now because there's certain like things and
Ah.
like almost tropes that are being used that just don't really fit my personal like aesthetic. So it's yeah, it's really interesting to just break it down on that level. All right.
So I think we blabbed on
Oh,
about flicking our picks, which to
we
our credit,
it's been a while. I gotta catch
it's
up,
been a
man.
while. Yeah, it's been a while. Gotta catch up. A lot of stuff to talk about. That was only half of it too.
Oh yeah.
So on to today's podcast topic.
Yes.
Uh, believe we are going to talk about my NebraskaCon experience.
Yes, we are.
Um,
So, as we talked about
yeah.
before, Nebraska, give them just a quick refresher, what it is, your history with it, all that.
Sure, sure. NebraskaCon, or I believe just the full title is Anime NebraskaCon, is a convention. It's similar to Comic Con. Everyone knows what Comic Con is, but it's more. It originally is more focused on anime and otaku stuff, but it's bled into all the different types of pop culture. There's comics and culture, and just pretty much it's just evolved into all things nerdy kind of culture. Quick little background about NebraskaCon. It originally started at the University of Nebraska in a dorm room, if I'm not
Did not
mistaken.
know that. All right, shout out UNL, my boys.
Yeah, I think it started back in shucks, I don't know the exact year off the top of my head, but it was I want to say like 2007 maybe. No, 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 2004 I think is kind of around that. It's been around for a while, but originally the first Nebraska had like 300 people go to it, not even that, and now it's evolved into like I think a 8,000 attendee convention. So
Oh
the
yeah.
history of that is very very cool because it's not a corporation convention like Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
It's all volunteer
Hey
work.
man, it's indie. It's indie, bro. It's like underground. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's very cool. It's kind of yeah, no corporation behind it. It's evolved from like just pure volunteer fan love and dedication into like honestly kind of one of the bigger conventions, at least in the Midwest. There's a couple other bigger ones, but it definitely has made a name for himself and from like nobody's help except from the community itself. So that's why it's pretty rad.
I love it. That's so cool. So, like you said, you've been going to it for many, many years now, and I know you were. This year is going to be very interesting as well because you're going to have a couple friends with you in the hotel room. So it's in like a hotel convention center in Omaha, and it goes over the span of a couple days. And Nick
It's
was actually going to host a panel this time, which is very interesting. But Nick, tell us a little bit about what all happened there, if you don't mind. I'm quite curious.
Hey,
I guess I should
ooh,
also say I was originally planning on attending. I had a cosplay kind of figured out that was going to be dope. I was really looking forward to it.
Oh, that was gonna be so
I know, I
cool.
was bummed. I was so bummed. But like we said before, I ended up having to move to Denver a little earlier than I was expecting, so I was not able to go. I missed it by actually just a couple days, which was a big
Damn.
bummer. Yeah, I was really upset about it. But especially now that I have heard a little bit about what happened. So, Nick, what exactly did happen? Break it down for us, please.
Hmm. Sure. It always starts on, I believe, the first Friday of November. So start
Yes.
on a Friday. For this con especially, Saturday is the more bigger day, just because it's Saturday and more people are readily available for Saturday. Um, Friday was fun. This was my 10th year of going to Nebraska on my 10th anniversary. So it's kind of a big deal a little bit for me. It's just more like, fuck, dude, 10 years. I've been going this for 10 straight years. That's pretty crazy. Um, First time getting a actual hotel room. It's conjoined with Cocoa Keys, which is like an indoor water resort, which also has a convention center attached to the water resort. So that's where it's been for a couple of years. And got my own room for the first time, a hotel room, which was super nice.
Yeah, big
Very
time.
like in a way, there are some reasons why I'm glad you didn't come. One being the hotel room that we had. We had one, two, three, four guys in that room.
Damn, dude.
Definitely, we're a little we we slept. I guess you could say comfortably away from each other, but at the same time, it was very cramped. Just not a whole lot of room exactly, but we found our own little corners of the room pretty much. Like when we got into the hotel room, I'm like, and you were still like, I still don't know if you're gonna come or not. I'm like, damn, how's Ben gonna sleep in here?
I mean, I was just
So it was
planning on cuddling, but that's fine.
a little cramped, but yeah, we made it work.
Yeah.
So yeah, Friday we did some shenanigans. I cosplayed as freaking forget his name. I think it's Shigaragi, but I don't believe that's right. But I cosplay as Eraserhead from My Hero, the
Yeah.
teacher from Class 1A.
And I
It
know
was
that
pretty cool.
reference, which was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you I understand that reference.
Yeah.
Um
Yep.
it was cool. I enjoyed it. I definitely had the best hair out of everyone because I actually have the long hair that looks
Yeah,
messy
no wigs for
without
my
me
boy
having to
there.
do
Let's
much.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no goddamn wigs. Definitely had the best hair. Unfortunately, I had a sneaking suspicion that I'd probably see some more people that were dressed as Eraserhead. I didn't know how many was gonna be there. There was a lot. I
Really?
probably
Huh? I
passed.
wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I, I was under the impression that people wanted to be more like the students because
Yeah,
those
I
are
didn't
more of
think
the
he was
popular
gonna be like
characters.
a real like beloved character like that. That's really interesting.
At the same time, though, it's in retrospect, it's a pretty easy costume to
That's a good
do.
point.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much just like a black jumpsuit and like a scarf and some boots. That's pretty much it. I probably saw like maybe 12 different other dudes walking around as the same character I was cosplaying. After about like maybe 8 hours of being in that cosplay, I'm like, damn, I don't want to look like everybody else in this
Right.
convention. So I switched cosplays and I went as Ling Yao from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I've yet to see another one, so that made me feel
Good. That's
super
good.
dope because OG original one.
That's right. Did you see any
Yeah,
other Troy Boltons?
no, I did
Oh
not. Well,
man,
okay,
no, I
so
really wish I could have done it.
a crappy thing about that though is, this is like the first year in a lot, like ever, kind of, that since it started that they did not have a Disney party room, which
Oh
really
man.
irked me because they always have the Disney party room. They like always play like it's just like free alcohol while blaring a bunch of Disney songs, and it's just a good old gay old time. It's
Oh
super
man.
fun and cool,
That was the
but
best
they
part
didn't
about
have
last
it.
year. It was dope.
Yeah, it was super
Interesting.
cool. Instead they had like a dumb Rick and Morty room, which whatever. But yeah, I was like, after seeing that they weren't having the Disney party room, like, oh shoot, Ben's cosplay is not going to make as much sense. Because I believe there's a decent amount of Disney cosplayers. Um, a lot of there's some females that do like the whole princess getup, which some of those look fantastic, like handcrafted like Belle from Beauty and the Beast like
Yeah,
costume, which
man, it's
looks
nuts.
fantastic. And they kind of go there and just like hang around the Disney party room, which it makes sense. It's super cool when the Disney cosplayers do that. And seeing that, and this is me not knowing that you were not going to come, seeing like they were not going to do the Disney party, I'm like, fuck, Troy Bolton is not going to work as well. People
Dude,
are not
I
going
would
to
have
be
slayed in
like
that room. I'd have been so popular. Oh.
They have played High School Musical music in the Disney party room before.
Hell yeah, they
Confirmed.
have.
That would have been amazing.
You betcha.
um but yeah, I was pretty bummed about that. I didn't see any shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Your other guy that you're gonna
I was
dress
gonna
up
be Nathan
as.
Drake as well.
Nathan Drake. Yeah. It came to me as soon as you said it. Yeah, I didn't see any Nathan Drakes. I've only seen one. No, I've seen two others at different times of the year, but yours have been pretty damn
Yeah,
good.
I saw a really,
Um
really good Nathan Drake when we were out around Halloween times downtown here, and I was like,
oh
dude,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
he had like, yeah, it was
Interesting.
awesome. Yeah,
Very
that made
cool.
me really sad also that I didn't do it.
Oh, what could have been.
Yeah.
So, getting to the crux of the convention. I actually need to prepare my phone for this
Yes, you do.
occasion. So I was going to host and run a panel about I believe I called it how to thrive and be a social nerd, which that panel I had designed to be uh mostly about people that are just not socially what's the word, adept, I guess I would call
I would
it.
say socially adept and not like y- they
Can't pick up
don't.
on social cues
Yeah,
as well.
and don't like
um
fit into like stereotypical like
right,
societal archetypes, that sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to make a whole panel where I talked about some tips and tricks on
Yeah.
yeah, I sound like a jackass saying this, but like
Yeah.
how to be a normal
Yeah.
person
How to help the
in
weebs.
real
Trying to help the
life.
weebs.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
how to help the weebs. That should be the description of that panel. So I had scheduled that to be at uh 11 a.m. on Saturday,
And
which
you've
on
been
a
working on
sidebar
it a lot
note,
too. Like you'd like sent
yeah,
me some drafts and stuff. Like yeah, I was really it was very in
yeah,
depth. It was
I
gonna be
went
really
hard on
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Which on a sidebar note, a lot of the like on the internet, the schedule for my panel said 10 a.m.
Mm,
Um, when the actual time was 11 a.m. And I think there was also another mistake that said my panel was at 12 noon. So it was kind
weird.
of all sorts of fucky ducky shit.
Yeah.
So Friday. Actually, I'll do a little history thing. So before NebrasCon, I spent 7 months working out rigorously and actually dieting to get in shape for my cosplay because for some reason all anime characters pretty much just have a six pack for no reason when when they're like 6 years old. This little boy has a six pack
And they're
and
like
just like massive. It
fucking
just
like
doesn't.
defined shoulders to hell, and I'm just like, yeah, no joke.
Yeah, it does not make a lick of sense. So and my Lin Yao costume, I'm not wearing a shirt, so I'm just like bare chested. So I'm like, I thought to myself, yeah, I'll get abs for this. Why the fuck not? You know, I've
Mm-hmm.
always wondered what would I look like with abs. And to my credit, I actually got abs. Not
Yeah, dude,
the
you look
most
great.
defined, but they were there. You could see them, so I was satisfied enough. That being said, 7 months of eating pretty much nothing but chicken and rice. Um, and like, no, like my main thing was like no sugar, all protein.
Oh yeah,
Um,
like no
another big
processed
thing,
shit. Yeah,
no, yeah, no alcohol.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I hope for those that are listening, probably me saying no alcohol will probably put two the two
You can see where
together to
this little
know
story is going.
where it's going to happen.
I guess we should say, because people might not know this, just thinking about it. I don't know how it is at other conventions, but NebrasCon is a party. Like,
It is considered a party con.
oh yeah, which means it is raging. Like we said, there's the Disney party room where it's like anyone can go in and get, like, they have all these like Disney themed drinks that these people make, and you just like get them. And
Well,
people,
the party rooms you have to be 21 to
oh
enter.
yes,
So not
yes, yes, yes,
everyone,
yes.
but yeah. But yeah, like that's mostly a lot of con lives depending on the size. Like the giant conventions, like Comic Con, like at the actual convention center at like a big convention like Comic Con, there isn't that much partying. But smaller conventions, yeah, there is more of a crazy nightlife, and NebrasCon is certainly one of them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah. So Friday night, and actually all through Friday, I was day drinking. No, I wasn't going hard, just like a Miller High Life.
Yeah, beer here and
I
there.
took
Yeah.
like yeah, beer here and there. I took like a shot here and there. Like I was feeling it because obviously I was not used to resisting alcohol. My body wasn't. I was feeling it here and there, but honestly, was not bad. Felt a little buzzed, slightly tipsy at times, but really not bad at all. Uh, so yeah, day drinking a bunch, and then the evening hits on Friday. My one of our dudes that we were rooming with, he's a pretty big dude, like he's really tall, and I don't like calling him this, but he said he doesn't care. He is more of a rounder person.
He's a bear.
He
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's another side story that happened at the con, but I may or may not get to that.
Ooh.
But he's not a drinker, and he said, "Fuck it, I wanna feel something from the alcohol." So I'm like, "All right, here's some whiskey," and he was drinking a little bit too, and I just told him like, "Dude, just down this whiskey," and like he like chugged a good like maybe I'm not good with fractions, like, not 1/4, but not 1/2 in between
Oh
that
God,
amount.
bro.
It was a lot of
Don't
whiskey,
try
and
this at
then
home,
after
kids.
that, yeah, after that, we took a shot of gin, and then we took a shot of vodka after that.
Ugh.
Um, yeah,
Sweet
yeah,
baby Jesus.
it was rough. He told me, like, afterwards, after everything was done, like, yeah, I was feeling, tipsy, but he, like, recovered in, like, a couple hours, so he was a little bit disappointed about that. So, I took, if I recall, I was drinking beer the entire time, and I took a shot of whiskey. I took a shot of gin, I think,
Oh god.
which
You can't be
like I'm
can't be
sorry.
mixing your alcohols, man. That's where you get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, like I brought ingredients for gin and tonic. I ended up not making a gin and tonic, which made me very sad. Um, yeah, I think I only took 2 shots that time. I think it was, like, definitely whiskey. It might have been 2 whiskeys and it was either 2 whiskeys or a whiskey and a gin or a whiskey and a vodka. Either way, I took 2 shots of something. One of them was whiskey. Anyways, so yeah, walking around after drinking those 2 whiskeys or whatever, I was, like, feeling tipsy and, like, not honestly not bad. I'm like, "Alright, I remember what this feels like. This is kind of nice." So then we go walk around, and we decide to go to the party rooms, which they give out free alcohol. Uh, they basically pretty much all the party rooms just they just serve like vodka and a flavor of Hawaiian punch together. That's pretty much all the party rooms.
Yeah.
That's what they serve because it's cheap and available.
And I
And
think
yeah,
they're
yeah, you can.
they're pretty generous with their pours as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Very generous. So in thinking this, I thought to myself, I've been to these party rooms for a number of years by this point. I know what's inside these drinks. It's just vodka and a different color of Hawaiian punch. Simple stuff. So I think we went to the Rick and Morty party room, and we went to one other party room which I don't remember which one we went into. But um, took two. I think that yeah, they're about a solo cup size, a good solo cup size of that. And yeah, I thought I knew what I was getting in for. I knew that I could handle my drink after just these 2 drinks. One of them, maybe both of them, probably had maybe something else in it, or just a lot more of a vodka, like a lot more than the other one. Because again, I've been to these party rooms for the past couple of years. I know like how like generous they are, like how high they usually go, how low they usually go. The highest I've had, I know what my limit is for what they serve. There was something else or more of whatever I was drinking. A lot more. I remember like after drinking the first party room's drink, I was feeling the same. And then after the second party room, I got to halfway through that drink, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm floating right now. um, and I remember walking around in some hallways for a little bit, like very, very, drunkenly dizzy, I guess would be the term that I would use off the top of my head. And then I remember just being in the hotel room. There was a gap where I just was so drunk. I guess that I was drunk. I guess that's technically the first time I've actually been drunk to the point where like there's gaps in my memory. So
Oh man.
I got the story of how I got up to my room. I kind of just was kind of, from what I was told, I was drunkenly kind of walking around with everybody, and then it came to a point where apparently I wanted to go back to the room. So somehow, my group, and some other friends, they got me in the elevator, but apparently, like, I did not want. Well, when I get super drunk or like hungover, like, I don't want to be touched or moved. Like, if I like, I pretty much my mentality is I just want to stay put until the hangover
Oh, I
goes
get it, man.
away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just don't want to move. So apparently, one of my friends had to like after the elevator reached our floor, our room wasn't very far from the elevator. Apparently, he buddy system carried me, with like the arm over the shoulder and like me walking, but him holding most of the weight. So he buddy system carried me to our hotel room. I don't remember any of that.
Oh man.
um, so yeah, in the hotel room, I didn't want to move. Apparently, there's a I saw the picture, but James took a picture of me. They went to off to explore, and they came back to the room, and they're like, "I wonder if Nick is in the same spot that he was," which I was just sitting in a chair. They opened the door. Apparently, I was still in the exact same position I was, with like head down, my hair just like drooping over. Apparently, that was like one of the funniest things they had ever seen. So glad I brought some joy to someone. So during that time I was in the room, like drunk off my ass, I had some friends come in, like kind of take care of me. I had a buddy came in and read scripture from the Bible, trying to ward away any demons off my body since I was very gone. I really wish I would have remembered that. I do not
That was
remember that.
great.
So when I get drunk, at least to the point where I don't want to move drunk, like for me personally, I am cognitively aware of my surroundings and what's going on. Just I can't physically move or talk well, but I'm aware of my surroundings. Like all my senses are still working. Um, so for a couple times when I needed to talk or say something, I like motioned for like a pen. Um, and what they handed me was a makeup marker. So I was writing on paper plates like what I was trying to say with the makeup
Oh
marker.
my god, dude.
I took pictures of it. They're pretty good. Like some of them are legible. Some of them, I think there's one where I kept on writing a sentence in the exact same spot on the plate, so it was just like a garbled mess. I think one of them was, "I'm so happy that everyone is here," because there was a lot of people in the room. It was pretty wild. And
It's a classic drummer. I love you guys.
pretty much. I guess
here.
I don't really know what kind of drunk I am. Maybe a happy drunk. But just off of what people have told me. But apparently, I drunk texted you. I don't
you sure did, my
remember
friend. You sure
sending
did.
any of these. I have no memory of sending any of these. So, if you will allow me to read,
please read
an excerpt of some of the text messages.
Yes.
Okay, I'll read them as they are written.
Yes, please do.
All right. Yo, this is me drinking Ted Ting you.
Yes, trying to say texting. Yes.
Wish the you hit here it here.
Wish that was
I'm
here
pretty
some way. Yeah.
I'm pretty frunk.
Yes, you were.
I love that one.
Frunk is great.
Corey Supert drives JK. Don't know who Corey is.
I don't know who Corey is, or yeah, that one I had no clue what was going on.
Then the last one is LO, not LOL, just low space B period C period space RU dude. I love our ad crux.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love you, dude. Like something like that. I don't know.
I think
something along those lines. It was a positive thing.
I think I was trying to say, love you, dude. I love our podcast. I think that's what I was trying to say.
That's what I got from it too, which made me so happy. And you're drunk and stupid. You're like, dude, I love the podcast, which is amazing. So, what did I say? I
want to know who Corey is.
Yeah, who the fuck's Corey? He sounds awesome. I want to hang out with him.
I have no memory of texting that. I took a picture, so I have a little bit of what you said after, not the entire thing. I probably could go look that up, but that'll take a little bit of time.
Nah, you're good.
You responded at 11:15 in the morning the next day.
Yeah.
I'm so mad I missed this. Lol, how you feeling this morning? And for some reason, my phone, when it does the text messages, it sends all of my text messages at the bottom, regardless what time order they do. So Weird. It's kind of all jarbled. Then I texted back. I super blacked out. Oh damn, you doing okay? I said something else. Yeah, that was it. I have no memory of texting you at all.
See, I remember. So I was laying in bed. We got back from something, and I was like either had fallen asleep and woken up, or was like about to fall asleep and was like mad drowsy. I roll over and I have all these texts from you. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And I just like, I can't deal with this right now. Like, I don't know what, because I couldn't tell like if the text made no sense or I was just like, half awake. When you're in that mode, you're just like, I can't even like think right now. Yeah. So I just like put it down. I was like, I'm gonna have to deal with that in the morning. That's morning Ben's situation. And then I like didn't even remember that it happened until like later on in the day. Like as clearly I didn't go back to, like 11:15, and I had like my phone out and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about this. But oh man, that is the best. So I think some of it, yes, they probably, like I said, probably had crazy strong pours at some of those party rooms, but also you hadn't had alcohol in 7 months, so your tolerance
that's another factor.
is completely shot. That goes away much quicker than you'd think it was. Like when I had my mouth surgery, I didn't drink for like 2 months. and I came back and I had like 2 beers and I was like kind of buzzed. I was like, "Oh my god, this is
Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah.
nuts."
Uh, I think I was okay with the day drinking, for the
Mhm.
most part of the day. It was just like the hard liquor right after another that really that finished me in. Did not puke out of the 3 times where I've had like hangovers from
Right.
alcohol. This was the easiest to get over and the
Well, that's
most
good.
tolerable one. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. I woke up feeling fine, but now that I think about it and I think what other people have told me, I'm pretty sure I was still drunk after I woke up. Um, that's probably why I felt pretty okay. Excuse me. So, um, it's Saturday after blacking out drunk and really having a hangover. I went to the where my panel was supposed to be in the room that it was supposed to be in. And I was standing there with my laptop getting ready and just like kind of walk pacing around just like going over things that I was going to say and everything just getting ready to do a speech pretty much.
Mhm.
Um so I'm there at the appropriate time. Regardless of what all the other misinformation about my time was. Um, and I was standing there for a while, and at one point, I was debating, I kind of don't feel good, so maybe I should go back to my room and cancel it. No, I think I could do this. And there was actually more motivation to like, dude, I super blacked out. I got super drunk. I'm gonna fucking finish this panel and be a boss about it.
That's right.
But eventually, I came to the realization that I can't really think complete thoughts very well. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. It was more like I could think about things, but there it was all kind of like a jarbled mess. It wasn't very constructive. And then I finally came to the realization that even if I do manage to do this panel, it's not going to be up to my liking and or standards of how I
Right.
want it to be presented. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna call it. I did like kind of a walk of shame back to the room, not because I drunk a lot, but because like shit, I really wanted to do the panel. Um, unfortunately, this was at this point I was like I don't give a fuck anymore. So I should have told a staff member that like said and told them, hey, I'm canceling. There was even one sitting next to the room next to my room. I should have just went over to talk to that. So I felt super bad about it. I had a couple people text me and calling me like, where are you at, dude? And like I can't do it, which I felt super shitty about that. Because there were actually people that showed up. So yeah, definitely feel shameful after that. That really sucked.
Well, in
But
hindsight, like with all the the misinformation about the time and stuff
true,
like that,
true,
you were kind of behind the 8 ball even before that happened.
true. I'm sure, given the nature of the con, there's been plenty of other panels that have
Oh
been canceled
god,
because of
I'm sure.
alcoholism.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I could probably like 100% confirm that that has happened. But eventually, like I felt so bad, like I kind of want to like personally and like in my soul, I needed to apologize it, or else I wouldn't have a fun con. So eventually, I went to the con ops room, where just the staff members like that's kind of their operating room, and I went to the manager of like all the panels and scheduling and stuff. Like I apologize. Like sorry, I should have told a staff member. I feel really bad about that. And the guy was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, no problem." But the guy he had like he responded in a way was like with a mixture of like, "Oh, I didn't even realize you missed it," and at the same time like, "Okay, I don't really care at the same time." So personally, I'm like, man, I kind of wanted to get like um barked at for my misdemeanor because I really felt
Mhm.
really shitty about that. But so I walked away feeling a little bit robbed because I felt like I should have been yelled at. But and then I just kind of went on with the rest of the con. Saturday, the rest of that day, I really started feeling the hangovers. It wasn't that bad. It's more like nauseousness and stuff like that, and like not wanting to move too much. At one point, I was sitting in another panel, and this might be a good question for you, but I was sitting in the panel feeling really shitty, and all of a sudden, I just went from like the feeling of like just all your senses and just your inner being just like downed, like you got like debuffed from like a video game. I felt like debuffed. Instantly, I felt like in a random split second, just like, oh, I'm not hungover anymore. Have you ever felt that?
Um,
Just like
not
instant, it like happened instantaneously. Like I
not
felt
really.
that.
No, that's amazing. I
It was
very rarely get
weird.
hangovers. I don't even know the last time I had one, but what does it for me, I remember is like I once I like am able to like drink Gatorade and like eat food, feel better
Hmm.
pretty instantaneously. But I remember there being like a specific like switch, and you're just like, oh, nice, shook that off. That's amazing, though.
Yeah, it was like
Usually
a
like it's
light,
usually like
like
like when you
turning on
wake
a
up the
light
next day, you're
switch.
like, oh, cool, okay, I feel a lot better. But that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Um, so yeah, it was kind of weird because the rest of the con, I did enjoy it, but still like the feeling of shame kind of put a damper on it a little bit. But
Right.
all in all, it was a good con. I enjoyed it. Like I remember saying like in a video I did, and even to you probably hyping it up and saying like, "Oh, it's my 10th anniversary. Something crazy is going to happen." And what do you know?
It
It
sure
did.
as hell did, man. Dude, that's amazing. That's one of the better like drunk like stories I've ever heard. That's so awesome, man.
After,
Oh
yeah,
man, I
yeah.
wish I could have been there for that.
After now that I think about the text message after I drunk texted you, after I told you like, oh, I feel really shitty that I didn't make my panel. The thing you said after that was, man, that sucks, but that's a hell of a story.
Yep, exactly. That's true, and
Hmm.
you'll remember that for a long time. And
Oh, for
but also though,
sure.
you did all that work for that. Like you have that all in a document, so you can use that in a bunch of different other situations, like down the road, whether it be for like a
I
video or for
can,
like another
yeah.
like panel of some sort. Like yeah, that's it's not like all that work was just like useless, you know.
I can potentially for next year petition to try it again, which I'm kind of on the fence about trying to do it again because at one point I'm like, well, I have this thing, I still want to do it, so I kind of still want to do it, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I'm like, this is like a bad stain, this is a bad memory, so I don't know, we'll see what happens
Yeah,
in a
yeah, we'll
year.
see. God, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad we were able to get that uh, story onto the podcast because this will be really fun to go back and listen to later and laugh about it all over again, which is amazing.
Ugh.
And one of the reasons, kind of why we started this podcast, not that specifically, but yeah, just the idea that we can reminisce together. So that is awesome. I absolutely love that, man. I'm
Damn,
really
you
glad to
know,
hear how that all went down, and I will cherish that for a long time. That was hilarious.
I I just thought of another podcast thing, which is like best drunk stories. I kind of just shot
Yes,
mine.
you did. You kind of just blew your load there, but yeah, that's a great topic. We could use that. We can bring some guests
Hmm.
on for that
Hmm.
too. That would be
Write that
wonderful. I like that.
down.
Yeah, get that down on the sheet there. All right. Well, guys, that has been a great little story time here on the podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back. We're gonna do a couple other records here in the next couple days and get some stuff in the bank for you to keep a nice steady stream of podcasts going.
Hmm.
I'd like to get quite a few in the bank here to get us through the holidays as well, because I'm sure we'll get busy during
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
as most people
Absolutely.
tend to do. So we're going to be proactive, which is not something I'm used to doing in my life very much. Feels weird. But yeah, that's what we're going to try to do. So keep an eye out for us back on your Mondays. We love doing this together and love sharing it with you. So thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Don't drink and have an important thing to do the next day. Just don't
That's
do it.
great advice. And don't mix your alcohols like that. Damn, dude, taking shots of gin,
Yeah.
that's wild. Gin shots? Jesus.
Ooh, it was a wild. I was crazy. I was fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
I love it. Catch you next time, guys.
Bye.
Holy shit.